Hello, this is Angelia with today's wisdom. Today's wisdom comes from Daily Om. As the earth allows the rain, sitting with feelings. It can take great courage to really sit with our feelings, allowing ourselves to surrender to their powerful energies. And some of our feelings are more powerful than others. I think we all know that. All too often, we set our feelings aside, thinking we will deal with them later. And how does that work out for you? It doesn't. If you let things sit, they just fester, and then it ends up with, the volcanic explosion when it gets to be up to here. If we don't deal with them, we end up storing them in our minds and bodies, and this is when anxiety and other health issues can arise. Because, we do get anxious about our lives and things in our lives. And if we don't deal with them right then that's going to, increase that. And we can actually become sick from that. Denying what our bodies want to feel can lead to trouble now or down the line, which is why being in the thick of our feelings, no matter how scary it seems, is really the best thing we can do for ourselves. And sometimes it is scary. Sometimes, you're in a bad spot and you don't know what to do, and your body usually will tell you when you're not okay. And when we're adding stress to our own lives, that's why I try to think long and hard about things. Especially if I know there's a potential for stress. And make sure I make good decisions. Like there has to be certain things, criteria that have to be met, things, and try to have the best possible decision making skills in play. One of the reasons we tend to hide or push aside our feelings is that we live in a culture that has not traditionally supported emotional awareness. And it's not. And there's a whole, subculture of the macho man, where you don't show your feelings, you don't talk about your feelings. And how does that work for you? You end up with ulcers and going crazy, and it doesn't work for you. However, as the connection between mind and body, our emotions, and our physical health become clearer, awareness of the importance of feeling our feelings has grown. Because, doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, everybody's starting to see there's a pretty big interplay there between your feelings and your actual physical health, not just your mental and emotional health. There are many books, classes, workshops, and retreats that can help us on our way to emotional intelligence. And when I was studying, I read lots of books about this, went to some classes about this, ended up teaching my own classes, about this, and doing some life coaching through my ministry and through the charity that, I was involved in. And, I found it very rewarding to help other people kind of come through things that I had come through myself, and kind of had to actively seek the help I needed because it really wasn't out there at that point in time, to kind of help them have an easier time of it than I did. And workshops, I taught several different workshops. I taught adult ed, these things can be helpful, I'm not just saying that because I taught them, they can be. So if you have some in your area and you think it speaks to you, go do it, What do you got to lose besides feeling bad? Retreats now, I've never been on one, and I went to one. I went to one retreat, and I really did enjoy it. But, there's some things I've heard about some other retreats, and I would be a little scared. But, do your due diligence and investigate things about it. I was invited to one, and I thought I would go, and then I started looking into it, and I was like, nah, not so much. Emotional intelligence, that is something that is handy. It's important for you to be an well-adjusted, well-rounded person, is to have emotional intelligence. That is something that's seriously lacking nowadays because the culture has decided it's okay not to give a crap about other people. So the emotional intelligence has kind of gone out the window here in America, and that's bad, because we should be able to read other people's emotions. We should be in touch with our own emotions, and that way we can get along better. If you're just pooing on everybody else, then everybody else is going to hate you because that's what you're doing. And then when we have a society full of just these individuals that treat each other this way, it's not going to hold together, is it? No, it's not. We can also trust our own ability to process what comes up when it comes up. And now, if you've ever had anything you've repressed, you know when it comes up, it's a shock to you, because number one, you remember it, and you're like, oh my gosh, that was a thing that happened. And number two, then you're like, how could I have forgotten that? Why did I forget that? That's crazy, you know. And it's because your brain repressed it. Your brain was like, okay, we're in overload. We can't handle this right now. We're going to push it back until a later time when we feel like we can handle this. And then you come to a point in time where stuff comes up. Because your brain's decided, oh, we're in a good place now. We're well adjusted and mentally healthy right now. Let's bring this up. We can deal with this now. You know, and then, of course, you're back down on your back because, you know, this stuff comes up. So, whatever you've been through, you've already been through it. So, when you remember stuff that comes up for you, or have some hard emotions that come up for you, realize you've already lived through it. You've already lived through it. These feelings are now secondary. It's like, you know, the thing already happened, but now we're having feelings about it. So when you have feelings about things, realize you've already lived through it. It's done. It's gone. It's over. Now you just have to process the feelings. It's like an after effect. The actual event is gone. You know, it's like aftershocks. The actual quake is gone, but now you have to deal with some little aftershocks to shake you up a little bit. So, you know, that's something I say is realize you've already lived through it. Now you just have to navigate the emotions surrounding it. If sadness arises, we can notice its presence and welcome it, noting where in our bodies we feel it, and allowing ourselves to express it through tears or a quiet turning inward. And I usually feel sadness in my extremities. I get slower, I'm lethargic, I don't want to move and do things, so that's how it shows up for me. When we simply allow ourselves to fully feel our feelings as they come, we tend to let them go easily. Because if you realize that's what they are, they're feelings. This is how I feel about this. And you navigate that. And you can work through it and, you know, do what you want with it. Sometimes it helps to help other people. Sometimes it helps to, you know, say, okay, well, this is what happened. This is how I felt about it. It's over now. There's nothing more I can do. And throw it away. You know, that's one of the coaching exercises I did, with my clients, was have them write down things on a piece of paper that they wanted to get rid of, and then we ripped it to shreds, or, you know, we took it out back to the patio or whatever and lit it on fire and burnt it till it was nothing but ash and blew away. So that's just one thing you can do, is to let things go. This is all we are required to do. Our feelings simply want to be felt, and that's what they want. When a feeling comes up, that's just our body wanting to deal with this. It's like, okay, this event is over, but now we have some emotional baggage about this event, so now we want to process that so that we can get our emotions and mental state back into regulation. Because we always want to be at the homeostasis line. We always want to be at level. And when you've been knocked off balance by feelings and you're not level, your body wants you to process that and get back to a state of homeostasis. We often complicate the situation by applying mental energy in the form of analysis, when all we really need is to allow, as the earth allows the rain to fall upon it. Now, having said that, psychological analysis can be very helpful to people who cannot navigate their own feelings. Now, certainly for every little thing, you shouldn't go running to the office, but you know, sometimes it's needed. But if you're just feeling sad or mad or whatever, you can sit alone with yourself and figure that out and figure out where you want to go from there. Or you should be able to. As the rain falls, the earth responds in a multitude of ways, sometimes emptying out to form a great canyon, sometimes soaking it up to nourish an infinite amount of plants. And I think this is a little metaphor they're using is like, you know, opening up that area so that it can be filled with other better things. Or, you know, you can turn it outward and, like I said, help other people, which nourishes, you know, others. In the same way, the deeper purpose of our feelings is to transform the terrain of our inner world. Sometimes for more feelings to flow, and sometimes providing sustenance for growth, because that's how we grow. We feel our feelings, we navigate our feelings, we come to terms with our feelings, and we move on. And that's how it should be. All we need to do is allow the process by relaxing, opening, and receiving the bounty of our feelings. And like I said, sometimes that's easier than others. And you know, there's no shame in getting help if you need to navigate your feelings. So you know, realize that feelings are gonna happen. It's a fact of life. You know, just like the rain, it's gonna happen. And you need to sit with your feelings, and you need to navigate them. If that means you need to go in your room, close the door, the bathroom, close the door, whatever, and get away from people and the situation, and you know, take some time off, then do that. Work through your feelings. Think about it. That's all for now.